The Secrets of Disney is brought to you by the Star Quest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What's there, Mama?
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
How do you do?
How do you do what?
Show me the smile.
If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
Very nice. You can sit by me.
Everything's so wonderful.
Come on, get up. Come on, get up. Where are we going?
Up to Neverland.
You must kiss me.
Excuse me?
Please, princess.
One kiss.
Unless you beg for more.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of The Secrets of Disney. And I'm Deborah, one of your hostesses. And joining me today, of course, is Sherry.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about something a little more seasonal and festive today, and something we're going to experience on our upcoming trip to Walt Disney World, which is Mickey's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party.
Yay!
Yay!
My favorite event, let me tell you.
It is one of my favorite. I think you might be right. It might be my favorite event because they do a companion one in November and December called Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And you're probably like shaking your head going, what are you talking about? If you're not familiar with this. So, okay, every, 365 days out of the year, you can get into Disney on your regular, go buy a park ticket, get into Disney. But the thing is like they've, and not just Disney, but a lot of Central Florida and a lot of theme parks in general have realized that Halloween is a cash cow.
Yes.
Like even like
any
holiday,
is a cash cow,
right? And Halloween, most especially for whatever reason, and I've noticed it around here in Nebraska too. Is like people are like, "Ooh, pumpkin patch and hayrack rides," and so Disney's no exception. Sorry, my phone is dinging and I forgot to turn it off. But anyway, so the Mickey's Not-So-Scary is an extra ticketed event that they have throughout August, if you believe that, September and October. So they just started this on like usually Tuesdays and either Friday or Saturday nights, and then like maybe 3 or 4 nights out of the week, all the way up until Halloween. And you pay extra to get in, and they sell only a limited number, but I think they sell quite a bit to get in. So it's less than a normal day, but maybe more than you think.
And it's only an evening event, this particular one.
Right.
So
I was going to say that typically it runs from 7 p.m. till midnight.
Yes, but you can get in early. So they let you in at about 4 o'clock to claim your wristband. And for this event, they give you a bag to trick-or-treat with. Right. So, and they close the park early so that the regular park goers, I believe, have to leave, or they're 6. Yeah,
they shoo them to the door, and they begrudgingly go, and they look behind them and go, "But I want to stay," and they're like, "No, get out." So anyway,
or they say, "Sure, if you pay for your ticket."
Right, that'll be, and it's not cheap either. That'll be $90-something for a regular price ticket. It's pretty expensive. It used to not be that way. Like Sherry and I have gone to Mickey's Not-So-Scary for, I have said probably over 20 years myself. I remember Sherry and I going a long time ago. And then I remember 1999, I think I went to my first one. So it's been around a long time, and it's gone up from, I think I paid $40 to get in back then to $90. So it's kind of jumped up in price.
Yeah. Well, so the prices do vary through the season. And like Deborah said, that it starts in August, runs through September and October, even into the last week of October. And then if that runs into November, then the first couple days of November. But the tickets in August and September are cheaper than if you go closer to Halloween.
Right.
So go ahead.
No, and I was going to say there are certain weekends, like they'll hike the price up on like Friday nights. Sorry.
Yes.
That's the reality of the tourism industry. That's like, oh, hey, everybody's off on Friday.
So if you go in September, you can get tickets for about $80.
Right.
While if you go in October, you're talking more like $110.
And don't even think like if you haven't planned to go on Halloween Eve, like the day they release the tickets, that usually is the first day to sell out, obviously. Because what are you going to do? The thing that's extra, and I guess we should talk about what's extra, what are you getting for that money other than admission back into the park, is you're getting trick-or-treating, like the good stuff. Like, you know, the people who hand out the whole candy bars, you know, those houses, imagine a theme park full of that. So,
yes.
So, yes.
There's vats. It's like barrels. You go from station to station, and they're those big barrels full of candy. And they don't give you one. You knock on a door at home, you know, in your neighborhood, and they go, oh, welcome. And they give you one little piece, maybe two.
Right.
When I went, I remember they just like stuck their whole hand into the barrel like a claw, like a claw machine. And they just scooped it up and dumped it in your bag. And my kids' eyes popped out. Like they popped out. And on top of that, one of my sons left his bag somewhere. And he was so sad. And we went to the next barrel and the guy was like, what's wrong? And he goes, I lost my bag. The guy got him a new bag, which, you know, he had extra, and filled it like halfway full of the candy that was in his barrel.
Oh, man.
And my son, of course, then he was like, yay, I love Disney, you know?
That's it, and they're like she's saying she's not, there's only been a few times where I've gone where they were like kind of parsing it out like piece by piece, and it was because like it was towards the end and they were, you know, trying to conserve candy, but at the beginning they're just like, here, take it won't keep, it's 100 degrees out, it's gonna melt.
Yep.
And so that's one of the things that people do is they either go trick-or-treating. People dress up. You can dress up, although there are some limitations to what you can dress up as, especially if you're an adult. We are
no masks.
Yeah, no masks. Adults aren't allowed to wear masks. Kids are under 14.
Yes.
And you're not allowed to wear like a very highly evolved costume with things pointing out of it, like, you know. And they also probably wouldn't let you wear something very scary, believe it or not. They're not going to let you wear anything that might scare children. So
because this needs to be the happiest place on earth for everyone.
Yeah, the name of
children included.
The name of the event is Mickey's Not So Scary. Because here's the other problem with Halloween in general, I think, which is it's turned into this blood and gore, occult, supernatural fest. And so it's very hard to take young children to like haunted houses out in the community that isn't overly traumatic and scary for them. And, you know, and you don't know, a lot of kids, maybe they can handle it. They've been desensitized, but maybe you have that sensitive child who, you know, is still afraid of the boogeyman in the closet. I was one of those children. I slept with a nightlight until I was 12 because I thought there was monsters under my bed. So
my children still do.
Yeah. So this is, you know, it's not, that's the difference, I think, between the Walt Disney World version of their Halloween party versus, see, Universal and SeaWorld. And SeaWorld's a little more fuzzy too. They're a little more warm and fuzzy with their Halloween party. But Universal Studios, which is the competitor, does a Halloween Horror Nights, and it is exactly what you think it is. It is blood and gore and zombies and, you know, and axe-wielding murderers roaming the park, and, you know, and it's definitely
I'm
not
not
for
interested.
children.
Doesn't sound interesting. Not exciting to me.
It is.
Mickey's Not So
intense.
Scary all the way.
Right, and because, you know, they want, because I think and I'm an October baby, so I was born in October, and, you know, as long as I can remember, I remember having Halloween-themed birthday parties. And so October is my favorite month, but I love the idea of even as a little kid, being spooked, like in a good, spooky story, but not a gory, terrible, traumatic story, but a nice ghost story. So think of it as like the ghost stories you tell as a kid kind of party. Like, oh yeah, the
Oh, sorry.
No,
go
ahead.
Finish.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask because you made a comment about how Halloween has evolved,
Yeah.
and all I recall from Halloween is just the spooky and that kinds of stuff. And I just wanted to, I guess, go back and find out how it has evolved, or like, I guess I don't even know where Halloween came from. I just know that as a kid, I used to go out and dress up and get candy.
Well, and if you're not familiar with, and I know that some of our audience members know exactly where Halloween is, but comes from, but it's All Hallows Eve, which is so November 1st is a Christian Catholic feast day, which is All Saints Day, and I think November 2nd is All Souls Day. If I get those confused, forgive me. But so All Hallows Eve, the day before a hallowed day, turned into basically a pagan holiday. It's like, oh, hey, the Christian holiday is the next day. Let's just go out and, I'm not quite sure how, like, all of the traditions evolved throughout the years. I know that they used to carve, the pumpkins and the jack-o'-lanterns and the turnips. They used to use turnips and carve them.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
And so that's been around for centuries, and they used to do scarecrows, and this is interesting. Have you ever seen the movie, Judy Garland movie? Oh, Meet Me in St. Louis. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Oh, they have 4 basic times a year they celebrate this year in like 4 acts in a way, and one of the acts takes place on Halloween, like at the turn of the century, like in Walt's Day. So, and they talk about the girls are going out, their little girls are going out, not to trick or treat, but to play pranks on people.
Oh.
And so they're dressing up as witches and banshees and to go scare, I guess, spooks back to the old days or whatever, or, and so they used to go throw flour in people's faces. And I'm like, when did this change? Right. And so, in order to, and this was just in Meet Me in St. Louis, so my knowledge is very limited, but I think it's one of those things that changed where it's like, let's stop making having the kids go out and run amok. Run amok. Yeah.
Nice.
And give them candy and bob for apples and, that kind of stuff, turned it into a more of a trick-or-treating thing. But, and then I feel like in the last 20 or 30 years, it's gotten to the point where it's like, it's not, trick-or-treating has now become trunk-or-treating in these big cities because a lot of neighborhoods, people feel like they're unsafe for their kids to walk around in. And that's one of the things that, happened with Disney is like they wanted to give parents a safe place for their kids to go trick-or-treating. But then I also feel like haunted houses have evolved into like these all-out scare the wits out of people, lots of gore and disgusting things too, kind of Halloween. And that's not the party we're going to, thankfully. There's nothing gory, nothing terribly scary. It's a little more... If
there was, I wouldn't be going.
Right, because, I can't get her on Tower of Terror, and I'm probably going to have to fight to get her on Haunted Mansion, but they're celebrating...
No, there's supposed to be something special during the event at Haunted Mansion, so I'll probably go to see what it's about.
So, and here's the other thing, too, that you get at one of these special events, is that you get a little more theming. Like, they have more of a Halloween decorations and themings, lighting. They have special parades and special fireworks that are you can only see them for the time of the party. Like my favorite parade is there, which is the Boo to You parade. And then
that is my all-time favorite
my all-time
parade.
Favorite. Yeah,
all-time favorite.
Yeah. So there's special things that they bring out just for this. And one of the things that I always, and it's ever since I was a kid, and maybe some of you all who are listening remember this cartoon, was the Ichabod Crane. And it's also not a cartoon, obviously it was a great American novel, which is, Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman, or The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. There we go. That's the right time. Been remade. Disney did the cartoon version in the 1940s, and the narrator was Bing Crosby. And that's where you get all like the cool little Disney Halloween songs about that. And then you get the Ride of the Headless Horseman. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know.
Me?
Do I need to explain this? Yeah.
Explain it anyway, because even if I know, the audience might not know.
So this is a tale that takes place in the colonial times in New England, and it's about a school teacher named Ichabod Crane, and he's wooing the fair Katrina, who's the richest guy, farmer in the land. His daughter's really beautiful, and so he's trying to get fair Katrina, to marry him. But he has a rival named Brom Bones, and he's like the Gaston. He's the big burly guy who's also trying to get Katrina. So they go to a party one night, and Katrina's there, and Brom Bones, and Brom Bones notices that Ichabod is trying to, get Katrina to, fall in love. So he kind of hitches a kind of a mean-spirited plan, where he noticed Ichabod is kind of like a little bit of a scaredy cat. So he tells him this legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is the, on Halloween evening, if you go over the bridge, you'll see a guy with no head, or a flaming pumpkin for his head, and and it chases you down on a black stallion, and you die. So in a sense, it scares Ichabod really bad. And so as he's riding over this bridge that he just heard about, he's had that spooky, scary experience where everything he hears is scaring him. And then he sees it, the Headless Horseman riding to him. And, it's this harrowing scene of him trying to get away from the Headless Horseman. And then, the next day you see, a smashed pumpkin in the middle of the bridge. And then they're like, nobody has seen Ichabod in that town again. And, and then, it's like, whatever happened to him? Some say he moved away. Some say he did this. And, but, it kind of ends ambiguously. But anyway, it's a great Disney kind of spooky story. And then so at the Magic Kingdom, it's a classic. And it is one of my favorite Disney Halloween traditions, is to actually find that on YouTube and watch the whole thing in its entirety, because I love it so much. And so before the Halloween parade starts, they do actually have the Ride of the Headless Horseman down Main Street, USA, with his little flaming pumpkin. It is really, if you blink, you'll miss it, because he's riding a horse by you. So it's pretty neat. So those are some special things, and then they have special food and lots
and lots of specialty desserts.
Well, yeah,
a lot of themed desserts, like Halloween themed decorated cupcakes are usually there. Let's say there's a character. It could be. It doesn't have to be a Halloween character. It could be Mickey Mouse. That they just decorate up in Halloween outfit and put onto a cupcake. Right. But they are very, very creative. They are also very, very delicious. So if you go, you may gain 10 pounds if you try everything.
Right. Well, yeah. And that's the thing, too, is like with these extra ticketed events, is a lot of times there's food included in some fashion. And, it's usually something like cookies. Like at Christmas time, it's cookies and cocoa. And then
yes, which is not as good.
No,
although, at Christmas time, the cookies and the cocoa are free, I believe.
Yes, they are. And so is the candy at Halloween.
True, but the other stuff, like the cupcakes, and there's a Maleficent ice cream cone. I believe it's lime flavor.
Yes, I had one last year. It was awesome.
That's right. That you have to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So
this year there's and this is harking back to if you're not familiar with the Haunted Mansion, one of the many characters in the Haunted Mansion, one of the main characters in the Haunted Mansion is Constance, who is a bride, is a Black Widow, if you would, and she's hacked all of her husbands to death. And so you can buy Constance wedding cake during the party, and it's like a little tiny mini 2-tiered wedding cake with an X on top of it, made out of like fondant and buttercream. And I'm so getting that. I'm like gonna, even if I have to stand in line for a half an hour, I'm gonna
We'll
get
share
that.
it.
Yes,
We'll share it.
So there's a lot of really good stuff for both kids and for adults. I mean, I think that's the big distinction too between like if you're, going to a haunted house like at a local pumpkin patch versus a Disney event is sometimes it's like, oh, okay, we have to do stuff that is very much catered to little kids, but it's kind of lame. Or it's very much catered to adults and it's way too scary for kids and there's no in between. Whereas I feel like Disney does it right for both parents and kids, because the kids get a little spooked out, but it's not, there's nothing gory, they're not going to be reciting scenes from The Exorcist. It's going to be, playful
It's still
spirits.
fun.
Yeah.
So, like, they also have stage shows. There's a stage show in front of the castle. And I believe this year they're going to have the Hocus Pocus sisters.
Right.
As the center attraction.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard of the Hocus Pocus movie, it had Bette Midler and
Sarah Jessica Parker and and I cannot remember the third witch, and I see her face. She was in Sister Act.
Right, and she was hilarious.
Yeah, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but that movie came out in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And now it's like a cult classic in a sense, because I tell you what, I didn't really enjoy it in the 90s, but now everybody seems to be gaga about it. It's on the Disney Channel.
It comes out every Halloween.
Right. So it's kind of like a Charlie Brown Christmas. When it came out, I wasn't all that impressed with it. No.
Oh, I liked it. I don't know. It kind of spooked me a little bit, but but their facial expressions.
Oh yeah.
Bette Midler and the one that we can't remember her name, and even Sarah Jessica Parker, they were just all kooky.
Yeah.
They were just all kooky.
They were scary witches and not necessarily spooky, gory witches. So they were scary and funny and kind of spooky, but not over the top, where you weren't quite 100% scared of them, right? Like
yes,
yeah, and even the characters in the movie weren't 100% scared of them, except for the three main kids in there. But anyway,
yes. So they're the main attraction on the stage show in front of the castle. So there's that too to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe there's a separate area that, even though the whole event is very kid adult friendly, there's an area that the Not So Scary Fun for Little Ones, where it's even less scary. Where they tame it down. The characters are still dressed up in Halloweenish outfits, but they're all smiling and happy.
Yeah.
So your kids can, young kids in particular, can go and dance with their characters, Disney Junior characters, and have a great time.
Yeah.
While you're there, and all the rides I believe are open. So because they limit how many people come in, instead of waiting an hour for a line, you're waiting probably 20 minutes, hopefully 15.
Yeah.
I'm praying for 10, but
Well, there are a few attractions.
Please, Lord, let it be 10 minutes.
Wonder if there's a saint I can pray to
right?
lessen this wait time. There are special, what they call overlays on attractions. So inside of the Pirates of the Caribbean, they have live actors that play pirates throughout the ride. That'll be fun.
Yes.
That doesn't normally happen. And then Space Mountain, which is usually in space, where you can see space above you as you're riding, is totally in darkness for this night, so there's no lights on at all. And then the Haunted Mansion has Madame Leota, a storyteller who's in full character costume with special effects, interacting with the crowds in line and telling stories and just posing for pictures and just being kind of cool out in front of the Haunted Mansion. So there's some special things. And not only that, some of the attractions, they'll give you candy at the end. Like they sometimes are trick-or-treat stops as well.
Nice.
I know. Can't wait.
So bring your big bag and dental floss and toothbrush and toothpaste.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is like, are you the kind that when you get more candy than you actually can eat or use in a month or two, before it goes bad, do you give do you donate candy? Do you give candy away?
I do. I ultimately end up giving away probably 98% of the candy that I get. I believe the last time I went to NotSoScary, we came back with this huge bag of candy, and my husband took it to work and left it like in the what is that, little lounge area.
Mm-hmm.
And in his office they had a lot of newbies who basically are poor. So it was like, yay, free food, even though it's candy, but it's, yay, it's free food.
I think everybody's like that. Yay, free food. Even if you could afford, like, to buy out the whole NotSoScary, it's like, yay, free food.
Free food, yeah, right.
Yeah, I know that I probably will be sharing. Like, there's certain, this is not a Disney very question, but it's a Halloween question. What's your favorite candy then for trick-or-treating? What do you like to get?
Oh, I like to get 100 grand.
Oh, interesting.
It's caramel and crunchy and chocolatey all in one. I love 100 grand.
Oh.
The small one, though.
Yeah.
Because the big bar is just way too much. Now, the reality is my favorite chocolate is actually a brand called Milka.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not going to give that out. That's not an American brand.
Isn't it German? That's a German brand.
German.
Yep.
German.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my favorite. You can buy it in Germany at Epcot.
Yes.
For a pretty penny. And surprisingly, actually, I was at Ross Dress for Less here. And I was going to pay for something, and I saw some Milka bars.
Oh.
And I was like, what? This is Ross Dress for Less. And it was a huge bar for, I think, like, maybe $3 or something. So I had to buy it.
Of course.
I had to.
I think Trader Joe's.
It was a sign from God.
It was a sign from God. I must have this chocolate.
This bar of chocolate. And luckily it comes in like pieces, so I broke it off in pieces and ate it. It took me like 5 months to eat.
Oh,
but
geez.
Anyway.
No, I actually, mine is, and I know you don't like peanut butter, but I love the Reese's peanut butter cups and also Mounds and Almond Joy. Like if I get a Mounds and Almond Joy, I'm like a squirrel. I'm like, I'm going to bury that somewhere. We'll find out later because those are my favorites.
Yes. Oh, they'll have those ones.
Yeah, they will. I'm super
they should
excited.
Have those ones.
And then of course M&Ms. You can't go wrong with M&Ms. And I'm a chocolate fan, obviously.
Yes.
So, and there's stuff in there that I'm like, no, thank you. No, I'm not a hard candy fan. Yes. So anything hard candy like Jawbreakers, I'm like, nah. But,
yeah, I'm not into Jawbreakers. I'm not into letting the candy sit in my mouth.
Right.
For very long. I just don't like it. I don't know why. My mouth gets tired, even though it's not doing anything.
Well, and here's the other thing too, is that Disney also does the Teal Pumpkin trick-or-treating. So I know that's a relatively new phase, which is if you have a teal trick-or-treat bag or you keep a teal pumpkin on your stair, it means that you give out treats that are for allergy sensitive. So like, gluten-free or sugar-free or not even anything to eat, like, something that people with peanut allergies or, special dietary concerns, they can have it. So instead of getting candy at Disney, they'll give you tokens and you take the tokens to a special shop and you trade in your tokens for something, a special gift of some sort, which I don't know what it is because obviously I go straight for the candy.
I didn't know that.
You know what? Maybe we should
that.
try that. Maybe I should forego the candy and I should go for the healthier blue token this time and see what that's all about.
Well, I am happy to share my candy with you.
I know.
Or we can vice versa. I can get the tokens and you can get the candy. And I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping, that you would be happy to share with me.
Let me think about that. Sure, yes. No, sharing is caring, people. So we will always share our candy with you.
Yes.
And, just like we share all of this other stuff with you for nothing, just the joy of sharing it, because it is, very joyful.
It's fun for us. Yeah. It's fun. It brings me joy to talk about Disney.
It does. It's a lot of fun to talk about things that maybe you remember from your childhood. Like, I don't know how many of you remember some of these Disney, like Halloween specials, or even the normal Halloween specials. Like, I have to watch It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown every year. Have to do it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I have cartoons that I watch every year for Christmas.
Yes.
We can talk about that in a different episode.
We will talk about that.
I love Christmas, and so I have my special ones for Christmas. I did want to talk about dressing up a little bit.
Okay, you go right ahead.
Deborah dabbed on that just a little bit. She made a brief comment. But to me, one of the funnest parts about the Not So Scary is people get dressed up. And maybe it's because I wear rose-colored glasses when I go in there, but I feel like 90% of the people that show up are dressed up. Maybe 80 is more realistic. So it's a lot of fun to see all the different costumes and renditions of costumes. Because, like, one year, our family went as Alice in Wonderland characters, and my husband and I dressed up as Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And I think we went in November, so I had to dress warm because I'm from Hawaii and I get cold really fast. So I had bought us red sweatpants and a yellow sweater, and I had made like just a blue sash, if that's what it's called, that goes over their shoulders and stuff, with a bow tie. And so it pretty much covered us up. Yeah. Mostly because I myself get cold. And we look kind of dopey-ish, kind of like the actual Tweedledee Tweedledum, right? Where they're kind of round and big. Well, we saw these other people who were dressed up, these two girls, and they were wearing very much like stylish clothes. They matched the color, so red pants, yellow shirt. They had beanies on, but it was a lot of fun to just walk by and go, "Hey, Tweedledee Tweedledee, look!" And you take pictures with them too. And there was this whole family that dressed up as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which was so cute. And the dopey was a little baby in a stroller.
How cute!
And I just thought that was the cutest thing. I asked them to take a picture of them because, you shouldn't take pictures of people unless you get permission.
Yeah.
And so I did, and they were happy to let me take a picture. And it's just part of the fun.
It's part of
the fun.
Do you want to hear about my favorite costume? Because
Yes.
So we have a mutual friend who is going with us too. And him and I have, and now his family have been picking a theme every year that we've been doing this. And so one year, and this was like 10 years ago, the theme was comedy props. And it was, it was like he had a whoopee cushion costume. And
what?
Yeah, like he was a full-blown whoopee cushion. And then his wife was a banana, had one of those really big banana costumes.
Nice.
And I can't remember who else went with us, but I decided to hand make my costume, and it's by far my most favorite and most interesting costume I've ever made. Since the theme was comedy props, I made a wearable, huge, funny nose and glasses. So it was like, it was kind of, and I wore it over, basically it was like something I wore over my chest. Anyway, so I went to the, and it was like, it went from the eyebrows went from basically like neckline, and then the little mustache was like a skirt in a sense. So it was that big. It was that big. And so I made.
How did you get on the rides?
I can't remember. I don't think it was all that pokey outy. I guess that's a word.
Okay.
But I went to. So here's how I made it. I went to like Hobby Lobby or or Michael's or some craft store. I can't remember. And I bought those foam wreaths. Where you can just.
Yeah.
And that was the glasses part. And then I bought some flesh colored felt for the nose, and I kind of shaped it out, and I attached it to the glasses, and I bought some black fur, like some black, and then I attached that as the eyebrows and mustache.
Yeah.
And then I put some straps on it, and I strapped it to me.
That's so creative.
And I was like that, and I loved that costume. I don't know if many people got that. They're like, what in the world?
Where are you?
Yeah, and
I want to see a picture.
I wonder if I could find a picture. And then the next year we did something with movies, and they're like, oh, pick a favorite movie, and I'm like, that's too generic. So I came as a movie. I made a film strip and out of felt and like wrapped it around me. So I have a picture. I know I have a picture of that costume, but
okay.
This year I will promise you when we get back we will share what Sherry and I are dressing up as a theme. And we won't tell you yet what it is. It is Disney themed, but I'm super excited about it. I've been plotting and planning this for about 2 weeks now. And hopefully we will have maybe a picture that we would be willing to share. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
Sherry's a little more camera shy than I am. And then we're going with our friends are going as Fortnite characters, and I don't have kids, so I don't know what Fortnite is. I know it's a game, but
I have kids, but I don't let them play Fortnite.
Oh, I don't even know what it is, so I'm like, I cannot participate, does not compute. So, anything else we need to discuss?
No. So far as the Not So Scary, I think that everybody should just go, because once you experience it once, you'll want to go again. It's so much fun. It's so amazing. It's so great. Less crowds. Every year is very similar, and yet they add new things or they change things. So it's still a different experience.
Right.
And you can go and celebrate the Not So Scary before you celebrate All Saints' Day the next day.
Yeah, before you have to go to Mass the next day.
Right.
Holy day of obligation. So,
but don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep in church.
Yeah, and don't eat that candy before you go to Mass.
That's right. That's right. Maybe after.
After.
You know what? You know what would be great is if you take your candy to Mass and share it with everybody.
Like after Mass. Like, hey, have a piece of candy as you're walking out to your car.
That's right.
And
the sharing with all.
Or give your pastor, your priest some candy. For happy
All Saints Day.
All Saints Day, have some candy.
Yes.
But that's just something to think about for getting you in the spooky mood. I was going to tell you a ghost story, but we won't because
please don't.
No, you don't need to hear.
I might not talk to you for a few days.
I know. I am probably going to tell you these stories when we get there because why?
No, I really will. I will walk away from you. I will. You will no longer be my friend.
It's so funny.
I will go sit on the side with my funnel cake and my iced coffee, and you could tell your stories to some stranger.
Oh, okay. I will try to be not so scary. Although that's my spooky Halloween. But anyway, I believe we're gonna end it right here, and I'm gonna ask you if you have any questions to let us know. If there's something you want us to talk about, some Disney questions, even if it's not theme park related, you can always let us know. We'd love to interact with you via the podcast. Like, we'd love to answer questions.
We love Disney. Anything Disney.
Right. And
it's okay.
And we are getting a little older, so the newer Disney stuff we might not be so up on, but we can certainly give it a try.
We can try.
Sherry has kids, so she has a little more experience with some things than I do, but
And actually, it would give me an excuse to go do it.
Right?
Whatever question you have, oh, that's new. I gotta go try.
Right, or I
gotta go
haven't
see
seen
that.
before. Exactly. So, anyway, well, you've been listening to The Secrets of Disney on the Star Quest Production Network. To find links from this discussion, which I'll try to include some stuff, and to find previous episodes, and to send us feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Disney. You can email us at disney@sqpn.com or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter at SQPN. I'm Deborah Shaben.
And I'm Sherry Tamamoto.
And once again, thank you for joining us for The Secrets of Disney on StarQuest.
Ta-ta for now.